know, I feel planning and what plans contain are a matter of local control and local decision making. Coordination amongst regions is also a good idea. I mean, this board is all about the Quad Cities, and that we're stronger as a region known as the Quad Cities than we are as separate smaller jurisdictions. So there's a benefit in doing regional plans. Certainly with transportation, you have to have regional and statewide plans. I guess I don't share the concerns expressed. I agree with Dee that many of these issues really need to be addressed to the legislature. Here they just passed and had the bill signed last April, and now this January there's already a bill on the floor to rescind it, so sometimes it may be a little difficult. Mr. McGreevy is correct. You do have the option not to adopt these, and if you so choose to do that, it would be contrary to the recommendation of your planning commission. And the reference I make to be compliant with state law is that if you're going to qualify for this grant and funding stream, your plan has to be in compliance with state law, or it'll be determined you won't qualify from the get-go. If there's concerns about where that funding source is, you know, that's a matter for the state to determine. You know, I understand what they're saying, but I don't share their concern, and you know, on a 5-2 vote, the planning commission did not either.
Wait a minute. I think it's my turn to talk.
Go ahead, Dee. Absolutely.
I'm not sure if you get a rebuttal. The recommendations of the task force came out at the very end of the summer. And so we started our work on this prior to that. If you read the collaboration piece, which is the intergovernmental piece, and I can read it to you, very clear that it's something that we already do. We contact everyone around us if we're doing a zoning that might affect a city, and we ask for their input in the decision-making process. That's all collaboration is. You're not endorsing regional comprehensive plans. You're not endorsing state-run comprehensive plans. You're not endorsing new government at the state level. You're really just saying that the planning principles, which are very good planning principles, will be used at the local level. If you get an opportunity to comment on those other things and you want to take a position, I'm sure the board will discuss that and take a position with the state legislature. But the task force requests are really directed at the legislature. It needs to be new law if they're headed in that direction. They have to define what a regional bi-state type group is, because they also recognize that there's one county in the state that doesn't have a council of governments, and our council of governments only covers 2 counties versus all 5 counties. So there's been no decisions made at the state level. I think the Planning Commission looked at these simple principles that you have here, these 10 objectives, and saw that they fit well in the body of work that they currently use, and it is another expression of how they believe they plan. And so if it's politically timing not correct, I mean, this is just a public hearing, you're not taking action on it, you're taking public hearing, you're taking discussion. We can review that, but really the simple principles here are principles that I think it would be very difficult not to endorse.
I'll be super brief because several things were stated here. Number one, the Planning and Zoning Commission, yes, the vote was 5-2, 4, but the folks that voted against this included the chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and 2 people had the courage to step up and say, whoa, Nellie, let's wait a second here. We just got some new information at this meeting. The information I got at the meeting is the same information Diane brought to them. So you had 2 people, including your chair, who had the courage to say, wait a second, let's take a look at this for a minute. We're not sure we have all the facts. Secondly, this document, I encourage you to read the task force report. It is driving this bus, folks, and people like people from the city of Osceola, the Iowa League of Cities, the Iowa Farm Bureau, the Sioux City City Manager, and the Sioux City Mayor all had letters saying they're not into this. All right, so it's not just 2 lone people out here saying there's some concerns here, and you're going to go down a path where we're going to be taxed more, folks, with this. and you're ceding authority. So I would encourage you to table it. Don't just say no. Read, take a look, make an informed decision, not one just because staff says rubber stamp it.
It's not on the agenda, by the way, Todd.
Pardon me?
There's nothing to table, it's not on the agenda.
This is a public
Well,
hearing.
that's why we could have discussion on Tuesday and you could have tabled it, but you wouldn't let anybody talk.
Well, you said that it was a public hearing. You
But
said that the-
Tom,
it's
think
not
about
debate.
those,
Excuse
think
me.
about that.
Excuse me. Okay.
Do you understand what he just said? He just said that, I said, if we had had this discussion on Tuesday, you could have tabled it and had the chance to read more documentation. And because it wasn't a public hearing, I couldn't speak. Do you see the hypocrisy of that situation?
Excuse me. Please be seated.
It's a fair
Thank you.
question.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anybody else? Mr. Chairman, I'll move to close the public hearing.
Second. Been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. We're closed. Next.
I move to open a public hearing relative to the adoption of digital flood insurance rate maps.
They're not going to vote on this.
Moved, seconded. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, we are open. Public hearing. Anybody would like to speak to this issue? Anybody? Seeing here and
Seeing and hearing no one, Mr. Chairman, I move to close the public hearing.
second. Moved and seconded. Close the public hearing. Closed. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're closed.
Number 12 now, this is an ordinance, first of two readings of an ordinance, and there will be a second reading in 2 weeks, to adopt new flood insurance rate maps in accordance with the National Flood Insurance Program, and amend certain provisions and sections of Scott County Code Chapter 6, zoning for unincorporated areas related to floodplain regulations.
Second. Moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Senator Brewer.
Yes.
Cusack. Aye. Earnhardt.
Aye.
Hancock.
Aye.
Leonard.
Oh, they actually do 2 readings.
The adoption of a construction evaluation resolution as provided by Iowa Code Chapter 459.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? None, all in favor?
I move resolution approving the change of the